What's going on, everyone? You have tuned in to another episode of South Bay Sports Radio. Thank you for joining me. On today's episode, we are talking with the Mira Costa boys basketball coach, Neil Perlmutter. Neil is originally from Newport Beach, a Duke alumni, and a CIF winning coach in 2017 at West Torrance High School. Coming into this year, Perlmutter has won 111 games, and as of this episode, the Mustangs have started the season at 19-1. Let's tune in to hear more from Neil about his story and basketball. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of South Bay Sports Radio. Today, I am joined by Neil Perlmutter, the head boys basketball coach over at Mira Costa High School in Manhattan Beach. Neil, thank you for joining me.
It's great to be here today. It's a little kind of a weird time in LA with the fires still going on and smoke in the air, but this is a good break from the chaos.
I agree. It is definitely a time where we did not predict or expect, but we're doing our best to make the best of it.
Yeah, I don't think we ever thought we'd see Laker games and Clippers games and concerts being canceled in LA due to, smoke and fires and entire communities burned down, but here we are. So hopefully this is not the new normal.
I agree. Let's begin. First things first, I want to hear about how you fell in love with basketball.
I fell in love with basketball growing up. I always loved the game. And then when I was in 7th or 8th grade, I started playing club basketball. And I had a great coach. His name was Selwyn Mansell. He was my youth football coach. I played with his son. And then later on, he started coaching youth basketball, and he had a club team with his son. That was the Costa Mesa team. I was with the Newport Beach team, and we started playing and practicing together and preparing for tournaments together. And our team started off, we were not very good. And, 6 months later, a year later, he kind of turned our team around, and I saw the effect that a good coach could have on a team, and that really helped me grow my love for the game.
You attended the Kate School in Carpinteria. How would you describe your prep career while you were there?
Kate is a small boarding school. We had 60 kids in our class, half of which were girls. So there were 30 boys in the class, call it 120 boys in the school. Our success was highly dependent on the talent that admissions let in. And these kids were really let in for academic purposes. When I got there, we happened to have a 7-footer and a bunch of 6'5" guys that were really athletic. And my freshman year, the team made the CIF championship game at UCI. This was back in 1996. They played, I think, Montclair Prep. And then when those athletes graduated, we didn't have a lot of talent. We didn't have a lot of size. My sophomore year, we were okay. My junior and senior year, we were pretty small and not great. And I was actually the center for the basketball team at around 6 feet tall. So I was kind of a work hard role player, didn't score a lot, but loved the game. And just kind of owned my role. So that was my prep career. It was nothing. I didn't win a lot of awards. I didn't win all league or anything like that, but I loved every minute of it.
You move on after high school to attend Duke University in North Carolina. What drew you to Duke?
The funny thing is that growing up, a lot of my mom's side of the family is from North Carolina and Virginia, and we grew up as Tar Heel fans. So I always liked UCLA basketball, and I liked North Carolina basketball. And then my older brother, Aaron, he ended up attending Duke while I was in high school. He was a freshman at Duke when I was a freshman in high school, and he started getting into Duke basketball, and I still refused to root for Duke until my junior year when I went on a college visit and I stayed with him and got to know his friends. And the first thing I did when I landed was I went to see Duke versus Maryland, and sitting in Cameron, I was sitting behind the bench and watched Coach K coach, and Duke blew Maryland out, and Gary Williams, I think, lost his mind and got ejected from the game or got a technical foul. And after that, I was a Duke basketball fan, and that's where I wanted to go to school. So that kind of turned the tide for me and made me want to go to Duke. And ever since then, I've been a diehard Duke basketball fan.
During your time at Duke, the 99 team was loaded with players like Elton Brand and Corey Maggette. How often did you find yourself at Cameron Indoor?
So the 99 team, that was the team that graduated my senior year of high school. So my dad, he actually took my brothers to the Final Four while I was in high school, and I was super upset because he didn't take me. And he said, hey, when Duke makes it, when you're in school, I will take you to the Final Four. And 2 years later, Jay Williams was a sophomore, and I went to, I would say, 95% of the home games when I was on campus. I also worked in the Office of Sports Information, which got me some VIP access to a lot of games, which was really cool. A lot of times I was sitting on the floor, and I'd help the sports information office with statistics and stuff. So long story short, I was at a lot of games, and I was actually at the Final Four with my dad and my college roommate and his dad when Duke won it all in 2001. They had a miraculous comeback in the semifinal game versus Maryland. I think they were down like 17 points or 21 points. They came back, won that game, and then they beat Arizona in the championship game. And they ended up winning, I believe, every game in the tournament by over 10 points.
What are some of the players on that team that you remember watching?
Oh, I remember the whole team. So Casey Sanders, Carlos Boozer, Chris Duhon, played in the NBA, Dunleavy, long NBA career, Jay Williams, Shane Battier. Shane Battier was the captain of that team, took a lot of charges, was kind of a do-it-all guy. Nick Horvath. It was a totally loaded team.
You went on to pursue your master's degree in Spain. Now, for those curious about studying overseas, how would you describe that experience?
Yeah, so I'd done a lot of traveling. When I was 27, I kind of quit my job, traveled around the world for about 9 months, and then I came back and I was deciding between getting a business degree in the States or going overseas. I really wanted to become fluent in a second language. So I ended up taking, the path less traveled and heading to Barcelona to study at ESA Business School. And it was a fantastic experience. There were about 210 students in my class from about 40 or 50 different countries. So it was super diverse. And I got to, study business with people from all over the world and really get a global perspective and live in a different city. It was a fantastic experience for sure.
In coaching for the Boys and Girls Club in 2005 before taking your first varsity head coaching job at West Torrance in 2015. But I'm curious as to what initially drew you to coaching.
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about Selwyn Mansell and the impact that he had on me in terms of helping kids improve their skills. And I think also, the ability to teach the values of life through basketball. I think that's what it's all about to me. I love winning games, but I really want to help the kids create discipline and habits that they can utilize later on in their careers. And I'm also an extremely competitive person. So whatever I do, I want to be the best at. And, basketball, I was working and I started coaching basketball on the side, and it just gave me an opportunity to work with kids, try to help a team get better. And, I guess I thought that any team that I worked with, I could really help them improve. And in the beginning, I wasn't a very good coach. I think when you kind of start anything, there's a lot of things you don't know that you think you know. But yeah, it was just the challenge of trying to help a team or teams get better. That's what drew me to coaching.
Wes, during the 2016-17 season, you helped guide the program to a Division IV AA title with a 65-54 victory over Blair. That team won 23 games and a Pioneer League title. But what still stands out to you about that year and the title game?
I want to say it was the first Pioneer League championship that the school had ever won. I might be confusing with Mira Costa. I think Costa hadn't won the Bay League in like 20 years, but I don't know if West had ever won the Pioneer League. So what specifically stands out to me was my first year, we were not very good, but we had some pieces. The season ended in February. We lost. We were 10 and I believe 17. We got blown out by Pasadena at Pasadena in the first round of CIF. About 2 months later, we started having our spring workouts. I called the team together and I looked everybody in the eye and I said, "We're going to win the CIF championship next year." And so we just kind of put our heads down and started working and kind of changed our style of play. We became a pressing team, and that meeting stands out to me. The night we won the Bay League championship, we beat Torrance in our gym to clinch it. That stands out to me. And then definitely winning the CIF championship at Azusa Pacific. That's a memory that I'll never forget.
Take me back to that game at Azusa Pacific. That's a very big gym. How did the team come out? What are some things you remember about that game?
So we were playing Blair, and they had a really good big man who was about 6'6", super athletic, and then they had a bunch of shooters. So I didn't sleep much that week because I was worried about, these guys lighting it up and hitting threes and us not being able to stop them. And then when we took the court, a lot of times you can't tell how big a team is until you're on the court with them. And I saw that we had a little bit of a size advantage. And then I thought that, hey, we might actually be able to stop these guys with our defense. And, we just did a great job defensively. We trapped them. We trapped a lot of ball screens, created some turnovers early in the game. And Alex Misha, our super sophomore, he took control of the game. He had 17 points at halftime, and Blair had 16 points at halftime as a team. And we were up, I believe, 33-16 at halftime. So it was a remarkable first half. He made a shot at the buzzer, I think, to put us up 17. We just carried the momentum all the way through to into the fourth quarter and kind of controlled the game from start to finish.
After 3 years at West, you take the job at Mira Costa in 2018. What were some of your goals for the program when you took over?
I always have the same goals wherever I go. So, they'd kind of been up and down in the previous. They had some really good years, and they were kind of up and down the 2 or 3 years before I got there. So, I laid out some very specific goals. I want to win a CIF and a state championship. That's my goal everywhere I go. So that's goal number one. Goal number two was to make Mira Costa basketball a place where all the kids in the community wanted to go play. So historically, Costa was losing kids to Bishop Montgomery and to Loyola and to other schools in the area. And I wanted to be at a place where every kid in that community says, hey, I want to go play at Mira Costa. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that. And I wanted to have a reputation for winning. So those were kind of some of the core goals. And, also we turned it into a year-round program where, the season ends in February, we would take a few weeks off, and then we just get back to it and keep working.
As of today, your varsity team is 18-0. What kind of work ethic and dedication have you seen from the players day in and day out?
I'm a very demanding coach. So in the spring, we're working out. A lot of programs shut down and maybe don't work out with their kids until the summertime, or maybe they put in a little bit of work, but we're going 2 to 3 days a week of, it's really all to us. It's all about fundamental skill work and laying the foundation. So we just put a ton of time into skill work. This year, we really focused on installing a new offensive and defensive system. We're running the Vance Wahlberg dribble drive and 2-2-1 pressing system. So we really focused on teaching the fundamentals of that system. And, the kids put their heads down. They worked extremely hard. We pushed it hard all the way through the beginning of July. In July, they focused on club. Then August, they took the month off. And then we hit the ground running in September and kind of built up our workout regimen until we were ready for the season. But these guys know that, the motto for our program since I got there has been outwork everyone. We do not have the most talented players. Don't get me wrong. We definitely have some talent. But we have kids that buy into the Mira Costa work ethic. I have an amazing coaching staff, Coach Ray at the JV level, Coach Tony at the Frosh Soft level. Those are my lower level head coaches. And those guys put in more time than any other lower level coaches probably, in Southern California.
Asked you to name your mentors in coaching, and you named a couple. Tom Marumoto, former St. Bernard coach Mitch Runco, Mike Murphy, and Frank Aloko. What are some invaluable things that you've learned from those mentors?
Also, I left off Glenn Marks. Glenn was also, I coached under him for the Rockfish Club team, so I feel bad that I left him off the list, but he was definitely another one of my mentors. But so I was fortunate to have a great group of mentors. A couple of things that stand out to me, as my career progressed. I remember, when you're an assistant coach, you can miss some practices here or there, especially when I was at Sonora, I was commuting over an hour to be an assistant coach there. I was commuting, 3-4 days a week to be an assistant there. And I missed some workouts as a result. And I was married and had to spend some family time. So then I got the job at West, and I called up Mike Murphy. He's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. He won a CIF championship back in 2014. And I called him up and said, all right, Murph, I got the job. What's your advice? He said, you got to be in the gym every day. And so that was kind of when you realize, all right, this is what it's going to take. You got to get your kids in the gym as much as possible. So that was one thing. And then Frank Alako, I've studied him a lot. I've worked at one of his camps, and, I talk to him, I don't know, once or twice a year about life and basketball. But when I watch his training videos, it's all about the details and constantly correcting your players and holding them to a high standard. We have to demand perfection, or we might fall short of it. But really just working out as much as possible and demanding perfection from your players. I guess those are two things that my mentors taught me.
Mira Costa competes in the Bay League, which has been nothing short of competitive. You compete against Redondo, which is your rival. We add Weisburn Da Vinci. PV gave you a tough game the other day for 3 quarters, and then you've got Peninsula. Is there any night where you think that you can take a night off, or is it always 48 minutes of basketball until the clock's over?
I think that we learned a good lesson on Tuesday night, which is I think our guys came in, we hadn't lost a game. They were a little overconfident against a very, very strong PV team that was 11-7 coming in. They'd played some close games against tough competition. And we learned that if we're not focused and ready to play, that anybody can beat us on any given night. So, I guess the answer is no. It's all about shaping the right mindset for our team and keeping our guys focused and game out. And it's hard to do with, 14 to 18-year-old high school kids, but that's the job of that's the job of the head coach.
All right, here we go with rapid fire. Your favorite NBA players then and now?
My favorite NBA players back then, definitely Magic Johnson, Showtime. That was the era that I grew up in, and he definitely helped me grow my love of the game. And I used to see him on the beaches of Hawaii when I was in the summertime. I'd go with my family and we'd run into Magic on the beach, which was pretty classic. And then now, I guess now would have been Kobe Bryant. He was, I just loved Kobe's work ethic and the fact that he would lose a game and then stay in the gym till 2 a.m. getting shots up or doing whatever it takes. I think we can all learn a lot from that. And then other players that I love right now, that's a tough question. Definitely Steph Curry. Just the time Steph puts into his craft and his ability to shoot. He changed the game. So those are 3 guys that really have stood out to me in the NBA.
Basketball player you've seen play live?
That's a tough one, but probably it would be a toss-up between Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. But hard to discount the all-time scoring leader, LeBron, and hard to take anything away from Kobe, who won 5 championships with the Lakers.
One NBA franchise has to go.
Definitely what are they? Jordan's team, Charlotte, the Charlotte Hornets. That franchise should be shut down. They haven't done anything in a long time.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Neither. Both of them will put me to sleep.
Classic rock or punk rock?
How about like hip hop and house music? But I would go classic rock over punk rock. I'm a huge music junkie. I go to Coachella every year. I go to a lot of concerts. I love music, but definitely not a punk rock guy.
Your favorite South Bay eatery and your go-to dish there?
Definitely Izakaya, the sushi bar in downtown Manhattan Beach. I'm a regular there. My go-to dish would be the Kampachi sushi. I'm a sushi guy.
Neil, you've been great. Thank you very much for joining me. Best of luck to you and the Mustangs the rest of the season, and have a great weekend.
All right, Nick, thanks for having me on the show. It's been an honor to be here, and I appreciate you covering high school sports in the South Bay and high school basketball specifically.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, South Bay Sports Guy, signing off. Have a great day.